Reporting on the games you love by people who love to game. The MMO Reporter Network.
Hello, welcome everyone to episode 76 of Too Long Didn't Listen. We are back again. I am Bill Mitchell and I am here with the incomparable James Nichols. James, how you doing tonight?
Hey, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me again. Good to be here.
I'm thrilled that you're here. And the also incomparable, we have two incomparables tonight. We have the incomparable Brian Brushwood. How you doing, Brian?
I mean, you say incomparable, but you could compare me, for example, my body mass compared to that of Halley's Comet. There, I just did it. See?
I think I just compared you and James too, because you're both incomparable.
That's true. You compare our incomparability.
Yes, we're equally incomparable by comparison.
Exactly.
And equally incompetent. That's what makes this such a great show.
Excellent.
And that's the joke. Oh, sorry. Anyway, so jumping right into it this week, topic the first, we're going to talk what everybody's talked about. Facebook bought Oculus Rift. We're just going to go straight into it. Oculus Rift, for those of you who aren't aware, is the savior of the virtual reality game. It's a piece of hardware that's been making the tour on it started off on Kickstarter. It's done the tours at all the recent gaming shows. It had all kinds of great buzz around it. It set, I think at the time, it set records for the amount of money it raised on Kickstarter. Got a little bit of angel funding to get started, and then Facebook swooped in and dropped $2 billion on them. So some good stuff, some bad stuff. James, why don't you kick us off here? What's your first gut reaction to Facebook buying Oculus and the Oculus Rift?
My immediate reaction is not what I've read a lot of, which is it's a bad thing. My initial reaction is one of curiosity. I'm not quite sure what Facebook's plan for it is beyond investing in a potential emerging technology that might be worth their while. But that $2 billion obviously means that they have a vision, like some kind of a plan for it, I would imagine. So, it's kind of like I'm interested to find out what their plan is before I
disagree. I don't think they have any kind of plan. I don't think they have any kind of vision.
I've wondered that. I mean, I would hope they would, but maybe they don't. Maybe this is just
no. And to be honest, not only do I not think they have a vision, I'm glad they don't. To me, first of all, let's break it into two pieces. First of all, from Oculus's side, let's say you found out today that Oculus just got funded with $2 billion of angel funding from a mysterious investor. And you don't know who it is, or let's say it's some name you've never heard of before, and you don't have any kind of preconceived notions about. You would be nothing but thrilled. You're like, yes, dude, Oculus Rift is actually going to happen, and that kind of money doesn't get thrown around on a product that turns out to be vaporware, like so many other things turn out to be. Separately, looking at it from the Facebook investment side, to me, like, look what happened to MySpace. MySpace was the dominant social media platform, but they didn't realize that their benefit was purely ephemeral, and that with the changing of the tide, as if it's one fad to another, all of a sudden they lost everything and they had nothing. Fox was left holding the bag. Rupert Murdoch had nothing for his purchase of MySpace. To me, this is a tacit acknowledgement that is, if not a probability, at least a possibility for Facebook. And instead what they're doing is they're converting all of their nonsense goodwill money into tangible assets. Now, granted, Oculus is a highly speculative investment, but it is the best branded and certainly the most popular and so on. I think they overpaid for it, given the level of hardware that's going into it. But maybe that their whole purpose is to invest deeper in it and keep it so far ahead of the competition. Because you remember one of the first responses to all of this is that Notch, creator of Minecraft, said, hey man, I didn't give $10,000 to Oculus because I wanted to seed a Facebook venture, and I'm out. And he pulled the Oculus version of Minecraft. And I understand that frustration, but during that, Notch said, by the way, there's a bunch of really great competitors to Oculus on the horizon as well. So I don't know if it's a good investment. I understand why Facebook would want to make it. They want to diversify. They want to get out of the we own your friends business and move into the we have something people actually want business. And I don't begrudge Oculus's receipt of that gift.
I mean, I would agree that I think it's definitely them trying to stay ahead of the curve and control more the experience rather than be a destination. They want to be a part of your experience throughout. So that's, like why they're on your mobile devices and why they're trying to be more connected, and why they own Instagram now, because more people are communicating through that than they are through Facebook in the younger generations now. Like,
I guess. I was going to say, like, I guess Facebook buying Oculus makes exactly as much sense as Google building self-driving cars. And in both of those cases, I don't care as long as I get the Oculus and I get a self-driving car.
And I think that is a great comparison. I think that is fair. I think that is kind of the best way to look at it. Is it's not so much as them trying to make it like Oculus Rift is the new Facebook. It is just simply a small component to a much larger overarching theme of just trying to be embedded in your life and then being able to serve you content. Really, at least that's kind of the impression I get from the intent of all of these, these companies and kind of where we're headed, which, obviously if it comes with good services and it comes with good experiences, there might be some, benefits and pluses and minuses, but I think it's definitely one of those things where it's a wait and see for me, but I'm not immediately negative towards it. And it doesn't sound like you are either, Brian. So
no,
yeah.
Think about this. There are definite benefits to the Facebook Association, because one of the things that we've been excited about with the Oculus technology is the next level step of going full augmented reality, right? Where it's like you are seeing a video projection of what's actually in front of you overlaid with all kinds of heads-up display stuff. Nobody can bring that to you the way Facebook can, where all of a sudden you're walking down the street and you have augmented reality goggles that, I don't know, we'll say they look like some kind of crazy future space sunglasses or whatever. But now all of a sudden it's doing facial recognition and it recognizes people for you. That experience that we thought we were hoping for from Google Glass, and we are all horribly disappointed because it's basically just a disposable camera strapped to your head. Mm-hmm. That can happen with Oculus plus Facebook, because there's two sides. There's the social network recognition coupled with the technology, and that is something that's possible here. Now, granted, that's a 5-10 year out technology before we even see prototypes of, but I think we all want that.
I don't know. I would argue if I want that, just to get that in there. Like, personally,
you would. Okay, hold on. Yeah, for let's say for $500, you could have what looks like normal sunglasses, and it would be totally like True Lies or any of those sci-fi, Terminator Vision. You wouldn't want that.
See, I'm a certain level of privacy advocate here. Like, personally, like, I look at it as far as like, how much information are we making easily accessible here? And it's not that I wouldn't want the experience. It's just that I don't know if I personally feel comfortable existing in that world, having not come from it. Like, and that might just be one of the things where it's like, old man Nichols over here is just like, just gonna have to watch the times pass him as they accelerate. But I don't know. Like, to me, I would probably, as someone who also really enjoys like exploring new technologies, it is a bit of a paradox. But at the same time, it's a brave frontiers there, and I just hope we all tread carefully on it.
Try this on for size, James. Not only is this where we're headed anyway, but it's going to be retroactive. Like, this facial recognition technology is going to become so good so fast that not only will we instantly know who's at what rally, where, at what time, at all times from the internet, but it will be retroactive. Think about every party you've ever been to where anyone has ever taken a photo and posted it on Facebook. Now, all of a sudden, and even before technology, all of a sudden, I guarantee you in the next 10 years, big news is going to be like, did you know that JFK was at this Ku Klux Klan rally? Look. And then this kind of stuff where it's like, there is no anonymity. There is no being a face in the crowd, because if you're a face, you're not a face in the crowd. You're your face.
I just have this vision in 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, them trying to find any politician who hasn't been caught smoking pot somewhere. It's
No,
not going to
They'll
happen.
move on to like, who's been freebasing?
Oh man, yeah.
And then Rob
Or
Ford
whatever
becomes a pioneer.
crazy designer drug in 2050 we're all into. So no,
Okay.
it is a crazy thing, and like I don't know. I mean, you really would feel totally comfortable in that world, Brian. I mean, not to switch subjects on that, but
Like, I mean, this is where this is all headed, right? I mean, Oculus is
oh, absolutely. I don't
Oculus is
disagree.
Facebook.
Yeah.
But I mean, here's the thing: is it doesn't matter what my opinion is. I don't get to decide what the world is going to be. This is the way the world's going to be.
Oh,
And
absolutely. I just wonder, like, as a person who has the opportunity to exist prior to us realizing that inevitability, just
I mean,
like you know,
here's the good news: is I don't have. I mean, I will live in that world. I don't have to live of that world. My
Mhm.
kids are going to grow up thinking it's as normal as can be, and that's all that matters to me. They're going to love it.
And I think we have similar bases. I guess I just still have those feelings of trepidation. You've just kind of fully gone gung ho, like Geronimo. Who
Yeah,
cares?
man, don't fight the tide, James. Man, dive
You
in.
know, I'm just a Tide fighter, I guess. I like punching
I
waves.
want to play that video game, Tide Fighter.
Tide fighter.
Build up the
Punching
sand
waves.
breaks to stop the. Oh no, you're dead.
Okay, so we've had a good look at this from the Facebook side of things and what they want to do with the technology. What about the Oculus side of things? Oculus, obviously, John Carmack kind of jumped in, and so did Chris Roberts, and they both basically said, I've got articles somewhere, but we'll put those in the show notes. Basically said that the math of it was there's no way this technology gets to market in any reasonable amount of time without a huge capital investment, huge capital funding like this. And it was just an inevitability. Funny enough, it was never talked about before the actual purchase, but whatever. So now Oculus is in bed with Rift. With Facebook. Holy Rift, Batman. How does Oculus deal with that? Like, they obviously have a Facebook reputation that they now have to deal with. They kind of were operating at the other end of the spectrum that Facebook was before the purchase happened. So how does Oculus deal with this? How does this change their strategy?
Let me just inject some nonsense before I hand it off to James. Let me state two things. First of all, not only do I not believe any of that, because all of Oculus was founded on the idea that what was very difficult, clumsy, bulky, and sloppy 15 years ago can now be done faster, cheaper, better with off-the-shelf parts. That's the whole reason that Oculus was developed by, a 19-year-old or whatever. So the idea that like only with great investment can we blah, 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 like maybe, I don't know that I believe that. Number two, I'm going to suggest that maybe an infusion of cash might be the worst thing possible for this project. And I'm going to go ahead and make the prediction right now that Oculus Rift will get out Oculus Rifted, that somebody will move faster and harder because they're about to suffer from Duke Nukem syndrome. Once you can restart from scratch as many times as you want because you have an unlimited budget, you tend to take advantage of that. And these are people, understand, John Carmack, Chris Roberts, these are guys not on the upswing of their career. They're on the preservation end of things. They're on the talking about managing all their millions of dollars side of their career. That's not where innovation tends to come from. And I'm going to predict that it's going to come from one of these sideways guys who has something to prove.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, I think they both John Carmack, they have the ability to bring ideas to the table, but I totally agree. Giving them that money is probably going to take that hunger away from them. Hopefully, they'll do the smart thing and put hungry people in charge of the project. And then simply take maybe a supervisor. Because I agree, I don't know if they're going to be able to, if they're going to have the passion to drive that. Because ultimately, I think we're going to see one of those competitors, or other, Sony's got theirs coming up, or the other independent ones that are in the works. I think they have a real good chance of becoming a better gaming peripheral, a better, add on to your gaming experience. Just like I think the Oculus Rift really started out as, and really that's all it was ever going to achieve, I think, with its crowdfunding source. So I believe that in their statement as much. But what I think the whole their objective now is beyond gaming. I think they're fine if
Yeah, I
the
will say,
notches of the world are not making Minecraft anymore. I mean, I think they'd love
right.
if Notch had embraced it. That would be great. But I don't think to them that's like small fish in a very, very, long timeline.
Now, I
So,
will say that the claim that you need $2 billion to bring Oculus Rift to market is hogwash
yeah,
because it's our people would buy it right now as it is right now if they could.
absolutely.
But what you can get with $2 billion is amazing microtization. I don't know if that's a real word, but you can get it down to Google Glass sized objects with $2 billion.
Yes, you can get a much, much sleeker profile, much more solid design. You can have much greater control over the entire manufacturing process. You can have, Apple like or Google, or these large manufacturer like control over the production of the product, and therefore also probably expand its capabilities and its marketability and its price, initial price points, all that stuff that goes into presenting a, prestige device that they're probably going to try and make it. For beyond just gaming, it's going to be a way of engaging probably your entertainment like wherever. I imagine that's probably what their goal is, right? Like you'd be able to, you don't have to stare at a laptop screen. Nobody needs to stare at your laptop screen as well. You can engage all of that, through just a peripheral on your face instead,
Well,
potentially.
Right.
So,
and I think it's a timing thing too, because the Sony VR technology or their solution to virtual reality is just starting to get a little bit of traction. So I think you're right, Brian. They probably could have gone to market without a great, huge infusion of cash. I don't know that they could have got there as fast as Sony can get there, though, without a big blast of money. So, yeah. So
yeah.
maybe that's the influence there.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you who wins is us the moment this crap hits the store. Hurry up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I look forward to seeing where they go with it. I imagine they probably have a whole bunch of different plans at this point, but I agree. I don't know if Facebook does have an overarching plan. I would hope with $2 billion, there's some kind of end goal there that's like they think is really tangible and within reach. But again, they just spent $19 billion on on code. So like, I don't know. I really don't know if they know, or it's a really interesting thing, and we've kind of seen situations like this before, and oftentimes they can result in a bubble. So it's kind of like, are these people just riding on their castles of sand or whatever? So waiting for the TIE fighters to come and mess shit up. I don't know. So
Right on.
Oh, there you go. So that was just a whole bunch more polite than all the MMO reporter discussions we had about this. There was a lot more, a few more swears dropped in there.
Yours was all like, Carmack works for Facebook now, LOL.
It kind of was. Shut up. No, we talked a lot more about actually just about the fan reaction and the for lack of a better phrase, the butthurt of the VR dream being taken over by the evil Facebook. So
VR dream, like, it's like, come on. But I don't know. It's I have my own. It's like, yeah, we can't, like you said, really, it's going back to, you can't fight the tide on this a little bit. But at the same time, it's kind of like, I don't know. It's acquisitions happen, and it's just like, these are companies, these are people who are trying to better their own lives as well. Like let's not make this kind of emotional. It doesn't help anyone to make it emotional, I guess. It's kind of my take on it. But.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't get the product there faster anyway, but man, it feels good to vent.
I guess, yeah, it's true. It does. I'm not going to deny that. I'm a person who vents at times too. There's things that get my goat.
So anyway, so speaking of new toys and getting excited about those new toys, topic the second is going to be the pre-release media for new games. We're kind of in a phase for MMOs right now, where Elder Scrolls Online is just coming out. WildStar is another big ticket game that's going to be landing in the next couple months, and we're starting to see that really early media, the pre-release stuff that's pretty standard fare across most games. It's not even MMOs. It's actually pretty much anything. It's got a set of trailers. They've got a marketing campaign. They have their own voice for the game. Second Son had a big campaign for signage and graffiti art and that kind of thing. It made a whole bunch of splash on Reddit because that's where I get my news is Reddit. Anyway, I wanted to talk with you guys. What gets you worked up about a new game? Like when you're getting that new game smell via the media feed and that kind of thing, what kind of things really get you jazzed about a new game? We'll start with you, Brian.
All right, first of all, allow me to state that I have a disease, and I'm boldly coming out of the closet as having I don't know, cinephilia. I love game cinematics, and I don't care who knows it. As you guys heard me say before we went live, every single time I loaded up Left 4 Dead, I watched that cinematic every single time. And I used to feel guilty about it until I realized that very likely the feeling you have watching the cinematic will quite possibly be the very best feeling you're going to have the entire game experience. You mentioned Star Wars: The Old Republic. Yes, that cinematic, I will hold up. That 3-minute cinematic to the intro of Star Wars: The Old Republic is better than all 3 of the prequels put together, and also better than Star Wars: The Old Republic put in there as well. And that's great. Like, I love buying into the hype. For me, the defining moment was Spore. I got the game Spore, and once I played it for a while, I went back and watched the GDC footage of what's his name, Will, whoever, explaining how Spore was gonna work, or the fantasy of how Spore would work. And that 40-minute presentation was more interesting than the actual game after I had the actual game. I love pre-release everything. It's probably the best it's ever gonna look or feel.
Having worked in the games industry, it's one of those things where it's that great honeymoon period where everyone's in, not even the honeymoon, it's just the dating. It's just like everyone's just super excited to be together. You're talking to me, I'm talking to you, you're looking good, I'm looking good, you're liking what's going on here, you're liking what you're seeing. And then when you're like, hey, let's make a deal, it starts becoming a reality. And unfortunately, that reality is generally never as good as the dream of the reality.
So can I give an utterly elitist, total douchebag Hollywood cornholer view of this? I've spent 15 years being a touring stage magician, and from time to time you get a little nibble on TV here or there or whatever, and the first 4 or 5 times it happens, you're like, oh, I don't want to talk about it because I'm afraid that it'll jinx it, or whatever nonsense reasons you have, like, oh no, I don't want to, whatever. And then after it ends in failure enough times, you realize, oh wait, the best part of this whole experience will be me getting to honestly say that there might be a TV thing in the works. And so as long as that's the case, I'm like, well, given that this is very likely the total benefit I'll get out of this deal, that there actually won't be a TV show at the end of this, but for the next 3 or 5 months, I get to talk about how I might have a TV show in the works, I'm going to maximize that and talk the hell out of how I might have a TV show in the works. That's how I feel about video game release stuff.
Damn exciting. Exactly. You're like, yes. And everyone gets pumped up with you. Like, everyone's on the same team. And they're like, yeah, because they don't have to be a critic. They don't have to have an opinion about it yet. Everyone gets to be pumped up about it and just, have that anticipation. That anticipation is such a great thing. And it's why, it's on that unfortunate thing of, having seen the man behind the curtain, I'm now way, 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 way less impacted by the whole preamble to it. I'm much more of that skeptic who's like, well, that's interesting, but we'll see. We'll see. So it's but I also try not to be that hard, that hard-edged cynic who's like, oh, that's just gonna suck.
I'll tell you what's the worst is when you're the hard-edged cynic who also has some kind of skin in the game. Where for example, let's say, there's a lot of excitement about Star Citizen coming up right now. Let's say you were independently working on a space-related MMO. Imagine if just by nature of what you're working on and who you are and what you know about the industry, you couldn't enjoy the hype around what might be a revolutionary MMO or whatever. Like that's how I felt for years as a magician, as my friends would get specials on this network or that network, and I was like, oh, that means that's less specials available for me.
Yeah, when really the right way to look at it, really, which I've learned since I also like, when I first started in gaming, I was like, oh, that those other fantasy MMOs are like, just gritting your teeth at other people, and you're just like, they're all coming out. But then you realize it's like, so long as things continue the way they are, in which there's more new humans every day than there were yesterday, then there's going to be plenty of freaking humans for everyone to get something from. Who the people who are really working for, the people who are really trying to deliver a good experience. There's always going to be new opportunities arising for you to seize. And like that's not even gaming really. I think that's just a life lesson that's just really hard earned sometimes. But it's one to live.
Yeah, it was actually my friend Andrew Main was the one who cured me of my inherent jealousy disease, because like I'd look at David Blaine, I'm like, what's he doing that I can't do? I don't know, why is he so popular? And he's like, hey man, do you think more people will take your call to pitch your Magic series if David Blaine is the biggest thing of all time, or if David Blaine is not the biggest thing of all time?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh wait, no, I want Magic to be incredibly popular. Good point.
Yeah, we're all in this together. It's really that whole, what you come to realize. And that's really where you can seize those opportunities and stuff. And I think that's really, just kind of trying to bring it back to our conversation here a little bit. Like, it is just like, building that excitement, building that hype, and riding the, everyone else's hype. Like, sometimes it helps to just be a part of,
hype is its own reward. You could put that on my tombstone.
Yeah, it's like it's an endorphin machine. It's like a drug almost. It's like one of those things where people can just get so amped up on the hype itself that they're blind to the end results sometimes. And that's just the craziest psychological thing that we can do, but it works. It works, and we've seen it happen, I think, time and time again across not
Plus,
just
like think about how many movies are in the common cultural memory that most people have never seen. Like I can quote to you all the biggest scenes from a bunch of movies that I've never seen because it's just everybody knows from the trailer or whatever. Like I'm okay with that. I'm okay that I didn't have to sit all the way through, Cruel Intentions in 10 years ago to know what's in that movie.
Love that as an example. That's awesome. Yeah, for sure. Like, it really, that wasn't the worst one. I can't even recall the worst crap I've had to slug it through. But yeah, no, I totally agree. It's one of those interesting things where I think hype allows more people to be a part of that experience and to share something and to share that anticipation in an entirely positive way. I mean, well, obviously you're going to have your detractors and you're going to have your cynics and you're going to have your critics and all those guys. But that aside, the people sharing in that's a really kind of communal, bonding kind of a thing. And there's plenty of people for example, I've met, I got into the gaming industry really because I started working with people who were just into a game and we're all hyped up about it. And then I got a job at the studio. Just because I was just running on that. And, I turned that into a career. And that alone is just an example of how that's, it's a positive thing in and of itself, in that it allows these relationships to build that can go anywhere. The game might not go anywhere.
You know what it is? Here's what it speaks to me. And I'm sorry for interrupting, but it's almost as though what the converse position would be, hey man, don't believe the hype. That to me is the same as somebody saying hey man, you're dating that girl, but don't fall in love because she's not really who you think she is. I'm like, I don't care. I just want to fall in love with who I think she might be. Let me do that with my games.
Yeah, and I think honestly, I think as long as you're cautious, I still go even if something's really exciting to me, I'll still go, well, let's see. Let's see how this all winds up, but let's enjoy the ride. It's not like we're doing surgery here that's you can't go back from. It's there's no reason you can't get excited for something. It's unfortunate when it turns out into a disappointment, but so long as you really didn't like become super emotionally invested and monetarily invested, you should wind up okay at the end. There's always going to be something else to get excited for, soon.
Yeah, and you got to think about too that the best reward that you can get from being a hard cynic as a default response to everything is you're right.
Is a
Yippee.
harsh bark of laughter.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Enjoy that bitter drink.
Yeah, exactly. I hope it was enjoyed. Like, yeah, I mean, it's like the cynics. Like, I'm just like, well, if you're not getting into this, then just like go do something else for. Like, why are you dedicating so much of your life to just feeling foul?
Tell you what,
I think we could have a whole conversation about that, like in itself. So
it's like, look, man, ain't no excuse for not following love. Just, follow love. Go. And yes, it'll end in tragedy and disaster, but so does everything else.
Right. Yeah, we're all gonna die. So like
spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert. Like, do something, dude.
You're gonna die. Might as well like get excited about a game for once in your stupid life.
Oh man, this topic turned dark fast. Yeah, we were talking about getting hyped about new games, weren't we?
I feel like we're in a groove right now. I feel like we can do no wrong. You want us to solve your financial problems? We're ready.
We're on it. Taxes done.
Financial problems solved. You're gonna die eventually. You won't have to worry about it.
Death and taxes. Nothing is more fair.
So anyway, you didn't get in on when we were at the start of this here, James. As far as hype machine goes, or examples, I mean, we talked about Spore, and by the way, I totally identified it with Robin Williams' play at Spore. I think it was at E3 or something like that. Anyway, is there any examples out there, James, that you remember that really got you, like a game you didn't even know about, but you saw that pre-release media and it just grabbed you?
Man, that would have to. It's been a while, like since I mean, really, it would probably have been, man, I guess I want to say like StarCraft, like all the way back then, but that feels so.
StarCraft 1?
Yeah, StarCraft 1.
Dude, that cinematic though, that was something that they were Blizzard was always great at their cinematic.
Yeah.
Diablo 1, that cinematic, I got chills every time Diablo started howling at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I was just such a Blizzard fan. Like, I played Warcraft 1. I had it number 2 on my PlayStation, which was just a pretty awful way to play it. So I don't think I didn't ever play it. I kind of had a hiatus there, and then they had Diablo.
It's like you just confessed that you wore hockey equipment and rode the short bus, man.
I know, it sucks. Let me tell you, but here's my honest confession. I was a Mac user up until like 1998. Like, I grew up with a Mac, and like that was like, it was I don't even know, did Warcraft 2 play on a Mac? It might have, but I probably didn't have a modern Mac.
I don't know, but I'm betting you played the hell out of Dark Tower.
Dark Tower, I didn't. I didn't.
That was like, yeah, Dark Tower and Marathon were like the Mac bastions of the 80s and 90s.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, I was super bootleg. I was like Super Nintendo and PlayStation. Those were like, that's how I got a lot of my gaming in, because it was really the Macs were for like, I wrote papers on there for like school and stuff. Like, I wasn't doing a whole lot of gaming besides Brickle, so. Yeah, no, I think StarCraft, Diablo 2, because those are the games. You know what? No, Unreal Tournament, because that's the game that got me to get a PC.
Dude, Unreal Tournament. Now, was it the first Unreal Tournament, or because I remember I got an Unreal Tournament 2K4, which I really dug.
The first one, yeah. So the one that came out in like I guess it was 98, 99. So that like got me to like get a PC and get a 3. Well, actually, I guess that wasn't my first Windows PC, but that was the first like 3D graphics card I got. Like, I was like, oh yeah, I'm like I saved money to like buy the card. And then that's what ultimately, because I upgraded my PC and was like super hardcore on Unreal Tournament, I got into EverQuest and everything. So it was pretty, yeah. But yeah, I think just I can't even remember it, but I remember I had like a disc that had like all these demo reels on it, and it was just like, oh shit, that looks awesome. Like just watching. I think it was my PC Gamer magazine was like sending me discs of stuff, and I just watched everything in there and was like, that's really how I got all my preamp, my hype, I guess, was would get that PC Gamer disc every month and like go like, oh, what's on this? What should I check out today?
Yeah, that was the magic too. Was that PC game? I'd almost forgot that those magazines used to come with CDs that were so full of love and awesome and coconut monkeys and stuff like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, oh yeah, that was. They should go back to that.
I don't know. I don't think anyone would be into receiving their media that way anymore. We're all just like,
Okay, hold on.
think
Like,
so?
if your choice is between a week of downloading a single holographic demo or physical media that would make the holographic demo show up, all at once, I think you'd be okay with that.
Yeah, I get. Yeah,
I guess what I'm saying is like, just remember that was an artifact of the time. And
yes,
the distribution of data.
Yeah.
And it was really, and it's the feeling that it captured too, like this, firing that disc in and seeing that cheesy menu come up and everything.
And like loading the demos and stuff. Yeah, I mean that was really my hype, was PC Gamer. I was trying to remember, how did I know so much about what was going on? Like, what was I doing? And I was like, oh yeah, PC Gamer. I guess they were really my entire, like, they controlled what I was into, which is kind of scary. I was a total consumer then, but I was a kid, so what are you gonna do? Well,
oh, there you go. Okay, so I think we solved the pre-release thing here. For all you game companies out there, start sending out demo CDs with your favorite paper magazine, and that's going to be the secret to success. I think we can all agree on that, right?
Of course.
I think what I think we agree on was the hype, like just that building that up, like, and embracing those relationships that it builds, and that shared engagement. Really, the demo discs.
I mean, like, it's just treat it like falling in love. It's gonna end in tears, but for now, enjoy that chemical, tsunami that you're surfing on right now.
Exactly. Yeah, live in that moment, because really, that's like the best you can do, I think. So.
And that's a beautiful thought, I think, to end our show on. That's our 30 minutes. I think we're inside there, and again, world's problems solved. So. Thanks, James, for your insights and your wisdom.
Always a pleasure.
And Brian, for your wisdom and your insights. That was awesome.
You will be billed appropriately, sir.
I am billed every day.
Perfect.
So, thanks, everybody, for tuning in. It was fun to talk at you all, and I hope it wasn't too long.
See, this is what makes us work together well, Joey.